As dwarves, reclaim the sacred mountain as your ancestral home from the Dark Lords in this combo chaining game, Covenant.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Covenant, game designed by Herman Mian and published by Devia Games.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant, welcome to Meeple University.
And hey, if you enjoyed this video after watching, like, subscribe and comments, you know what to do. Right, now let's get to the classroom.
This is the Sacred Mountain. Once the home of the dwarves, it has been overrun by monsters for many years. In Covenant, players are clans of dwarves, answering the king's call to reclaim the mountain. Players will forge weapons, excavate the great halls of the Sacred Mountain, fight the monsters, and compete to build the best placed buildings, all to gain the most favour and ultimately glory, which are your points. Whoever scores the most glory over 3 eras of play will be the winner. I won't take you step by step through setup, but I'll show you what everything looks like when you're done and give you an introduction to some key components and concepts. Each player has a player board which looks like this. And be aware that they're unique. The actions and bonus icons in this section of the board are in different locations on each board. Players have 4 different types of buildings in their own colours: houses, workshops, pillars and gates. And they begin scattered in a variety of locations, including all pillars and gates, beginning on the main board. You'll have an area where you store the game's resources, which are iron, emeralds, gold and mithril, and you begin with some of your capacity blocked. This is an upgrade you can make across the game. You'll have 8 dwarf pieces. 4 of them are strength 1 or 2, and 4 of them are strength 3 or 4. You'll be strengthening your dwarves through the game, and you'll only ever have 4 on your player board. That is, if you ever upgrade a strength 2 dwarf to strength 3, you'll swap them out. However, at the point of setup, you will have 4 level 1 dwarves. You also have a supply of carts and player markers. This is the main board at setup. Flip to its 3 or 4 player side. Round the outside is the victory points track, known as glory points, and each player begins with 5. Throughout play, the yellow laurel represents points gained immediately, the red laurel is points gained at game's end, and anything with a red number rather than black is something spent, not something gained. There are 3 tracks which players will advance on, and their names and icons are the court track, prestige track, and mining track, with this icon representing the track of your choice. All the way around the outside of the board are the face-up markets of the various gainable tiles, as well as the draw decks that will be used to replenish them. These are traditions, tools, king's coins, inlaid jewels, both silver and gold, relics, and rubble. The only tiles here which aren't a market of gainables are these ones, the projects. Placed down here next to the round tracker, you'll have 1 of each type used for the entire game, which provide end-of-round scoring objectives for the different types of building placement. There'll be 1 tile of each type, but you'll shuffle and place them in a random order. In the centre of the board is the map of the Sacred Mountain, made up from hall tiles, with 4 beginning face up and the rest face down. From the bag of monster pieces, you'll have placed starting monsters on each face-up hall tile based on the number of skulls. Note that at 3 players, some of these spaces are blocked out with neutral pieces, and on the 1 and 2 player side, there are some die icons used only in the solo mode. To finish setup, you'll do the starting draft. Lay out starting tiles, traditions, and type 1 and type 2 objectives, each equal to the number of players and face up. Give someone the first player marker. This marker never changes hands throughout the game. And in reverse turn order, each player drafts 1 tile at a time from this display, being sure to finish with exactly 1 of each type. Keep your objectives face down here, although feel free to look at them at any time. Place your tradition here, and take your starting resources, any starting track steps, and support tokens. These come in two types, 1s and 2s, and you can't freely interchange between them. Anytime you gain a support, at that stage you must make the choice on whether to take a new 1 or convert a 1 to a 2. You're now ready to play. Covenant is played in 3 eras, and in each era each player will take 4 turns, starting from the first player and going clockwise around the table. At its most basic, your turn will involve taking 1 dwarf from your tavern, assigning it to an unoccupied tool on your board, and taking that tool's action at that dwarf's strength. So early on, you'll mostly be using these 4 pre-printed tools at strength 1. As the game goes on, you'll have more options and can take more advanced turns. Now, how all of these pieces got there I'll explain a little bit later, but how to use them I'll explain now. Your turn is still always to assign a single dwarf from your tavern to an unoccupied tool, but you may also assign and spend a single support token, either a 1 or a 2, to temporarily increase the strength of that dwarf, take advantage of passive bonuses you've unlocked, and before or after your main action, take the bonus action of an inlaid jewel if you've placed one on that tool. So this action would be to take the dig action at a strength of 2 + 1 + 1, a total of 4, and before or after digging, gain or upgrade a support token. There are 4 main actions in the game: dig, skirmish, build, and transport, while books are wild, letting you take 1 among the other 4. Replenish empty spots in any markets only at the end of each of your turns. If there's no arrows printed, you'll just refill, while if there's arrows, always slide before refilling. And then play will pass to the next player. After 4 turns, players will be out of dwarves, and you'll go to the council phase. Reset your dwarves, advance the era marker to the fire, and score any fire benefits that you've unlocked, and advance to the project, where players score points based on their matching building placements. You'll score the current era's project and all previous eras, meaning first round placements will score 3 times. Proceed to the next era's turns, with the same starting player taking the first turn. So now let's look at the main actions in detail. The pickaxe is dig. Determine the strength of your action, here it's 3, and take rubble tiles up to that total dig strength. Here with 3 I could take these ones, or perhaps just these 2. Once you've chosen, gain them to your storage. If you go above your capacity, you must discard down. Then, based not on the strength of your action, but on the number of rubble tiles you dug, advance 1, 2, or 3 spaces on the mining track. Here, 3 rubble, so 2 steps. Then, regardless of the number of rubble, dig out 1 hex on the map. Thematically in this action, you're digging out the old halls of the Sacred Mountain. And so, regardless of how much rubble, it's always 1 hall you're uncovering. Choose a face-down hall, which is adjacent to at least 1 face-up one. Gain the benefit on its back. So here it was steps on the prestige and mining tracks. Reveal the tile in place and seed it with random monsters from the bag equal to the number of skulls. The second action is Skirmish, and this is how you fight the monsters. Count up your strength, here it's 4, and remove monsters in any combination from face-up halls anywhere on the map, up to the combined skirmish strength required for those monster types. Goblins costing 1, orcs costing 2, and trolls costing 3. Here with 4 strength I've got many options. I could take a troll and a goblin, or 2 orcs, an orc and 2 goblins, and so on. Gain prestige steps for each monster defeated in the action. 1 for a pair of goblins, 1 for an orc, or 2 for a troll. So here, 2 steps. And the track may unlock bonuses, which I'll come back to later. Then for each type of monster you defeated, gain the benefit on that monster's die at most once. So here, 1 step on the court track and a mithril and support, and re-roll any die whose benefit you claimed. Now move all defeated monsters into your dungeon. At this point, you have an unlimited capacity in your dungeon. The third action is build, and this is how you get your buildings on the map. Only buildings in this section of your board, known as your forge, are available to be built. The houses and workshops over here, and the gates and pillars still on the main board are yet to be unlocked. You cannot yet build them. For the action, choose a single one among the 6 build options whose build strength is equal or less than the strength of the action you took. Here at strength 3, I could build 1 house and 1 other building. Legally place the building on face-up tiles on the board following the placement restrictions here. Houses and workshops are called basic buildings and they have the same restrictions. Each is placed on a single hall tile. There can be at most as many basic buildings as the number of diamonds on that tile, and a player cannot have more than 1 basic building per tile. So, Blue's new house could not go here or here due to capacity, nor here due to existing Blue workshops, but here or here would be fine. You can freely place with monsters, but you'll want to clear them out by the end of the game, since they'll lose points if they're still around. Pillars are placed at the intersection of 3 face-up halls and not adjacent to another pillar. So here, these are all of the intersections of face-up tiles, and these are the ones unavailable as they're occupied or adjacent, leaving only these as the valid pillar locations. Gates are placed along the edge between 2 face-up tiles, and no single tile may have more than 1 gate on it. So these are the double face-up edges, and this gate blocks out these options, leaving the rest of these options as valid. After each building placement, gain immediate rewards based on the type of mineral vein, emerald, gold, or mithril, on each tile your new building touches. The benefits are based on these tables in your player aid, and they vary by building type. Houses give you resources, gates give you glory points, pillars give you steps on the tracks, and workshops are one of the ways to gain these bonus actions, which are the actions which will upgrade your tools. If in this turn I built this house on mithril and this gate on mithril and emerald, I would now gain 1 mithril and 4 points. The final action is transport. Check the action strength and transport up to that many resources from your storage to a single one among the 6 monumental construction sites. For each of the resources that you transport, mark a matching empty space at your chosen construction site with one of your carts. Then immediately gain glory points, 1 for iron or emerald, and 2 for mithril or gold. Each site has a transport limit, 1, 2, or 3. And if after your action you have fewer carts there than that limit, then nothing else happens. If you now have as many carts as the limit, mark an empty one of these bonuses with your flag, gaining the bonus you cover, and unlock your gate or pillar from that site, moving it to your forge ready to build. If your chosen site and action strength let you transport more resources than your capacity at that location, then you may transport spillover to the King's Throne Room. First, complete the standard transport until you've reached capacity at your chosen site, gaining all benefits as normal, and only then put spillover in the throne room. You gain the immediate glory points for all of these transported resources, while there are endgame points on offer for majorities in the throne room. You must always take this action choosing a site where you still have capacity, and only then can spillover go to the throne room. I could not, for example, now take my action here to put everything in the throne room. Do note you'll see this same transport action as a bonus as well as a main action, and in any such bonus cases you'll resolve it at strength of 1. Only the main action lets you transport at multiple strength. An icon like this lets you deliver straight to the King's throne room. Those are the 4 main actions, and now we'll look at some of the other icons and bonuses triggered by those actions. When you unlock the fist icon, you strengthen one dwarf. Choose any dwarf except for the one taking an action this turn, and upgrade it to the next strength. With this icon, you may forge a new tool. Choose one among the face-up tools and pay the resource cost on the tile and the board. Add the tile to any one of these 8 spaces and gain the benefit that you cover. Here, for example, I would unlock these 2 buildings and strengthen one dwarf. If you gain a key, put it in your dungeon, and if you unlock storage, clear one of these spaces. With this icon, inlay a jewel into one of your tools to make it stronger. Choose one among the available 6 jewels, pay its cost, gain its glory point reward immediately, and add it to a tool which accepts that color of inlay. If it's the same tool that you're activating this turn, then you can use that inlay on this turn after your main action. With this icon, you gain a tradition. Choose one among the face-up traditions, pay its glory points cost, if any, and add it to your board. In most cases, these are passive ongoing benefits, and you'll gain what's on the right when you trigger what's on the left. So for example here, when I build a gate, I gain a strength, while these are benefits I gain at game's end or in the council phase. With this icon, gain a king's coin. Choose one among the face-up coins, again paying the glory point cost, if any, and add it to one of these 6 slots of your board. Immediately gain the benefit printed underneath that coin slot. So here, for example, buying a new inlay. The benefit on the coin itself you gain during the council phase. You can gain relics, which you gain either when you trigger this icon, as well as each time your marker enters a space on the mining track which adjoins a relic. Whichever way you gain it, choose one among the face-up relics whose position on the mining track you've reached or passed. Here, red could take any relic, blue can only take the first one. Collect the relic beside your board. On your turn, before or after resolving all steps of a tool tile, that is, before both main action and inlay, or after both main action and inlay, you may spend a relic for its once-off effect. You may never do this on the turn that you gained it. You can't use the effect again, but you may score points at game's end for different relics. Finally, an action may let you move monsters. And in each case, move any one monster to an adjacent face-up tile. There can be at most 3 monsters in any one tile. Once everyone's taken 4 turns, move to the council phase. Return all dwarves to your taverns, and then in turn order, each player takes a single turn in which they'll resolve all of their fire effects. That means each icon on a king's coin, not below it, followed by each fire icon on a tradition. Next, all players evaluate their dungeons. Earlier I said that you could store any number of monsters in your dungeon. However, at this point, the monsters try to make a break. You can now keep only as many monsters as you have keys, and must return the rest to the bag. Now score points for your imprisoned monsters, which is 1 point per troll or orc, or pair of goblins. Finally, score the projectiles from the current era and all previous eras. These give you points based on where you've placed certain buildings. Here, for example, blue would gain 2 points for this house on a green vein, 1 point for each workshop on a blue tile, and 4 points for this gate which straddles 2 gold veins. Remember, there'll be 1 project in each of 3 different types. There'll always be one related to the placements for houses and workshops, one for the placements of pillars and gates, and one which will be a mixed bag. Once the third era is complete, after resolving this scoring as normal, the game is over and you'll go to final scoring. Score majorities of carts at the King's Throne Room. If there's a tie, more carts on the higher row of the throne room breaks the tie, and if still tied, both players get maximum points. Here, purple would get 6, and yellow beats blue for second place due to having this cart in the third row, while blue has this one in the fourth. If you have no carts in the throne room, you score none of these points. Count up the total number of achievement stars that your banners have crossed. Blue, for example, has 3 on the court track, 4 on prestige, and 2 on mining for a total of 9. If you have at least 4 but fewer than 8, then choose one of your 2 objectives and score it. If you have at least 8, then score both of your objectives, and each achievement above your 8th scores 2 points. Blue had 9 achievements, so would score both objectives and 2 points. Check for monsters. Every tile on the board where you have at least one building present and there is at least one monster present loses you 2 points. Here, blue has a presence on these tiles. Among them, these tiles have monsters, and so blue loses 3 times 2 is 6 points. Score these 4 tool objectives. These are on all player boards in a different order. For each objective, if you've filled both tool slots below it, then you'll gain 2 points per time you've met the objective. If you've filled one of the 2 slots, you gain 1 point per time you achieve it, and if the slots are empty, you don't score it. This one gives you points for different relics. So here I've got 1 point, 3 different relics, 3 points. This one rescores the monsters in your dungeon. Here it's 2 points multiplied by 4 total monsters for 8 points. This one scores districts where you have a presence on the map. Districts are different to tiles. Each contiguous cluster of tiles with the same background colour is a district. Here blue has a presence in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 districts, although in this layout scores no points. This objective grants you points based on how many pillars and gates you've unlocked from the monumental sites, regardless of whether you ended up building them or if they're still on your board. Finally, score 1 point for every 3 leftover resources and points of support, and the player with the highest score wins. If tied, whoever crossed the most achievement stars breaks the tie, and if still tied, victory is shared.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, maybe you'd like to watch this next one. Have a great day. Bye.